Shifting colors rise beyond the window's edge. A quiet hum threads through the waking air. She steps into rhythm without a single plan, letting the moment open on its own. A small rush of warmth curls near her side. Footsteps sink softly across the room. Her thoughts fall neatly into place, shaped by the hush before the day begins. Golden follows with an easy sway, tail mapping arcs through scattered dust. His calm presence draws her forward, guiding her pace towards something new. Outside, branches stir in slow motion. Shadows lift as the sky expands. She senses a shift beneath her ribs, a feeling she chooses not to name yet. Her stride builds mild momentum. Threads of purpose gather as she moves. Every corner holds a subtle spark, hinting at roots she hasn't tried. Golden trots ahead with cheerful intent, eyes bright with careful curiosity. He glances back to check her pace, encouraging steps to lengthen out. Hair cools slightly against her sleeves, yet comfort rises under each breath. Directions begin to fall into view, placed like markers along the morning. Snow from last night curls along the street, edges crisp beneath distant roofs. Her path widens with unspoken promise, pushing her toward the growing scene. Golden settles beside her once more, matching her rhythm with practice steals. Together they cross an invisible threshold where hesitation loosens from her frame. And as the day pushes open its gates, she steps into motion with renewed intent. Every footfall clean, steady, sure, and the unfolding world carries her on. Early tones gather along the window frame, edges shifting as the sky adjusts. A quiet stripe of color stretches wide, marking the threshold of a forming day. A soft rustle drifts across the floor, stirring the room with gentle motion. The faintest echo lines the space before any clear direction appears. She moves with unhurried certainty, letting the early hush steady her steps. Every sound draws a subtle outline, guiding her toward a calmer focus. Outside, rooftops start to reorganize, contours rising in uneven patterns. She senses the world take its first shift, though nothing demands her name it yet. Curtains sway slightly with the tempered breeze, lines of shadow glide across the wall. She feels intention gather quietly, like ink settling into a waiting page. Warm toned surface in delicate increments, hints of movement reaching toward her hands. She lets the moment widen on its own, without defining what should come next. Floorboards answer with a muted rhythm as she adjusts her pace through the room. Possibility grows beneath her thoughts, rounding edges that once felt sharp. The window brightens in a slow ascent, shapes outside becoming more precise. Her steps align with the growing clarity, following patterns she didn't seek. Air shifts softly around her frame, inviting her into the next small choice. She allows emotion to take its place, filling the morning with steady intent. And as the day begins to hold its form, she meets its outline with quiet resolve. Every breath, pace, centered shore, and the widening morning meets her stride. A cool current brushes past her face, marking the beginning of something unnamed. Soft tension leaves her shoulders slowly as the room leans toward its next moment. Faint whispers cluster along the wall, hints of movement gathering in small folds. She watches the air adjust around her, noticing details she missed before. Furniture outlines hold steady positions, yet everything feels slightly renewed. She steps with care across the floor, letting intuition lead the way. No urgency shapes her direction, only a gentle pull toward clarity. Each breath arranges itself cleanly, without demand interpretation. Outside, a muted brightness hovers, its presence felt more than seen. She studies the shift in temperature, tracing the change across her hands. The floor responds with a subtle resonance, a quiet sign that the day has begun. She follows that cue without question, trusting its timing more than her own. Curtains sway in a calculated arc, opening a pathway she hadn't noticed. She aligns her posture with the space, allowing its rhythm to guide her pace. Oh, air thickens briefly, then releases, carrying possibilities across the room. She meets Footsteps settle softly in the quiet hall. Faint echoes lean against the waking room. A thin thread of motion shapes the air, signaling a shift beneath the stillness. Golden lifts his head with gentle interest, ears turning slightly toward the subtle stir. His quiet presence marks the moment before anything fully begins. She moves with unhurried certainty, letting the early hush form its path. Every sound draws a subtle outline, guiding her toward a softer focus. Outside rooftops hold pale traces of night, edges waiting for colors to return. She feels the room stretch wider as expectation rises in small increments. Golden steps closer with steady calm, paws tapping lightly across the floor. He follows the arc of her movement, reading each motion with familiar ease. A faint breeze pushes through the curtain, shifting the shadows against the frame. She senses intention gather quietly in places she hasn't touched yet. Warm tones shape themselves in the distance, hints of direction whisper through the air. She listens without needing to decide, trusting the room to unfold slowly. Golden circles once, then rest nearby, letting the room settle back into balance. His presence anchors the drifting thoughts, keeping her centered as the morning expands. She takes a measured step into open space, feeling the quiet pulse of the day ahead. Threads of movement align around her, forming a path she's ready to follow. And as the world nudges into motion, she meets its rhythm with grounded ease. Every shift deliberates, steady, true, and the rising day moves forward with her. A muted hush settles across the room, not heavy but present in its own way. She notices how stillness rearranges, forming patterns she didn't expect. Soft pulses rise beneath her fingertips, traveling upward in measured intervals. She follows a slow ascent of sensation, letting it map its own direction. Walls carry faint and old echoes, resonances shifting in gentle arcs. She listens closely without reacting, allowing the moment to unfold. Her breath moves with unclaimed purpose, neither hurried nor restrained. Each inhale draws clean intention that settles without command. A distant tremor touches the floor, subtle, almost imagined, yet distinct. It nudges her posture into alignment, guiding her stance toward balance. Curtains hold a poised stillness, edges suspended in quiet tension. She feels anticipation near them, though nothing calls her outward. The air shifts with faint modulation, its texture rounding around her frame. She absorbs its calm persuasion, letting clarity form in small into the waiting space. Every motion deliberate and assured as the unfolding hour shapes her view. A thin gleam edges across the distant room, not sharp but clear in its intention. She notices how it slides into place, marking the start of a fresh cadence. Soft echoes roll beneath her steps, unhurried yet purposeful in tone. They shape a muted rhythm around her, inviting her to move with restraint. Walls absorb the shift in atmosphere, holding whispers of something rising. She follows the subtle invitation, letting her focus narrow gently. Curtains sway with understated grace, their motion steady, almost ceremonial. She aligns her breathing with her art, finding balance in the tempered flow. A faint warmth trace along her wrist, traveling upward before fading out. She limbs her beatingless action. A floorboard traces along her wrist, traveling upward before fading out. She lifts her attention to meet it, curious about where it began. Floorboards issue a hollow resonance, timed as though rehearsed before dawn. She listens closely without reacting, accepting the moment as it stands. Across the room, shadows organize, folding into new, deliberate shapes. She watches the transition unfold, learning from its careful patience. Texture shifts along the quiet air, its density rising in measured waves. She steps into the thickened space, allowing herself to adjust slowly. No destination calls her forward, only the subtle push of intuition. She honors the pull without question, letting it sculpt her path ahead. And as the room finds its new center, she follows its posture with quiet resolve. Every gesture mindful, grounded, sure, and the forming cycle aligns with her pace. A quiet ripple glides across the air, barely shifting the space around her. Its presence hums in a distant register, hinting that movement has already begun. Soft gradients form along the corner walls, colors tilting in unstated hazards. And she pauses long enough to observe them, letting the moment unfold without push. A faint tremor grazes the wooden frame, not enough to sway, yet enough to notice. She tilts her attention toward the source, tracing the motion as it lengthens. Thin currents weave behind her back, shaping invisible arcs that widen slowly. She adjusts her posture in response, welcoming the change without question. Shadows drift in a moderate sweep, crossing the floor in tender increments. She watches their quiet procession, A faint vibration hums beneath the surface, not loud yet insistent in its cadence. She senses its presence before anything moves, like a silent cue carved into the air. Shaded contours just along the ceiling, lines bending with nearly hidden motion. She watches without naming the change, letting perception widen on its own. Furniture angles tilting subtle increments, barely enough to claim attention. Still she tracks each quiet alteration, seeking patterns in the shift. Her restrained work spreads across the floor, gradual, forced and steady. It carries an understated momentum, hinting at transition still forming. Thin currents drift behind her shoulders, tracing arcs that fade before completion. She turns slightly toward the sensation, following the suggestion rather than the source. A muted resonance gathers near the wall, slow-toned and paced like a distant drum. She allows the sound to guide her stance, aligning her posture with the rhythm. Overhead a small flicker passes, its movement brief yet intentional. She notes the gesture as direction, pointing toward possibilities unseen. Her steps land with careful precision, matching the slow choreography of the room. Each placement clearer than the last, a stillness gives way to flow. Undefined pathways open subtly, appearing only when she chooses to look. She walks toward the nearest outline, prepared to accept what it offers. And as the space settles into coherence, she steps forward with refined focus, every motion paced with deliberate calm, and the emerging sequence steadies her path. Subdued pressure gathers near the floor, filling the space with measured weight. She recognizes the shift instantly, though nothing visible has changed. Thin vibrations press along the frame, pulse like steady intentional. She tilts her awareness toward the sound, letting its pattern settle inside her. Soft gradients crease across the ceiling, colors folding into deeper cushion firmly, yet their fabric hums with contained force. She senses momentum building, even in their controlled stillness. Across the room tones densify, lower frequency settling into place. She turns slightly toward their erosion, letting the sound influence her posture. Subtle roots unfold beneath perception, outlines etched in suggestion alone. She steps toward them with patience, accepting guidance from what's unseen. And as the hour gains its full dimension, she aligns herself with deliberate poise. Every movement refined and assured as the thickened quiet shapes her path. Broad contours rise along the distant wall, spreading outward in deliberate motion. She notices how the edges extend, reframing the room with subtle intent. Soft intervals shift across the floor, crossing paths in measured succession. She studies their intersecting trails, learning from the quiet geometry. A tempered glow builds near the corner, not bright but confidently present. She lets her gaze follow its ascent, tracing the curve it forms in silence. Air thickens in a gentle progression, gathering weight before releasing again. She adjusts her balance carefully, matching her stance to the cadence. And a tone settle behind her back, folding into layered harmony. She turns slightly toward the resonance, allowing it to guide her perception. Walls stretch with understated depth, suggesting space beyond their borders. She leans into the widening reach, trusting what the expansion implies. A faint tremor rounds the atmosphere, barely noticeable yet persistent. She interprets the motion as signal, a nudge toward unmarked direction. Shadows travel in elongated sweeps, moving with certainty across the frame. She observes their confident transit, taking cues from their steady course. Contours outside sharpen gradually, revealing shape she hadn't sensed. She steps toward the shifting outline, letting curiosity set her rhythm. And as the moment opens fully, she walks with crowns in anticipation. Every movement spacious and true as the widening field welcomes her pace. Shifting colors rise beyond the window. window's edge. A quiet hum threads through the waking air. She steps into rhythm without a single plan, letting the moment open on its own. A small rush of warmth curls near her side. Footsteps sink softly across the room. Her thoughts fall neatly into place, shaped by the hush before the day begins. Golden follows with an easy sway, tail mapping arcs through scattered dust. His calm presence draws her forward, guiding her pace towards something new. Outside, branches stir in slow motion, shadows lift as the sky expands. She senses a shift beneath her ribs, a feeling she chooses not to name yet. Her stride builds mild momentum, threads of purpose gather as she moves. Every corner holds a subtle spark, hinting at roots she hasn't tried. Golden trots ahead with cheerful intent, eyes bright with careful curiosity. He glances back to check her pace, encouraging steps to lengthen out. Hair cools slightly against her sleeves, yet comfort rises under each breath. Directions begin to fall into view, placed like markers along the morning. Snow from last night curls along the street, edges crisp beneath distant roofs. Her path widens with unspoken promise, pushing her toward the growing scene. Golden settles beside her once more, matching her rhythm with practice steals. Together they cross an invisible threshold, where hesitation loosens from her frame. And as the day pushes open its gates, she steps into motion with renewed intent. Every footfall clean, steady, sure, and the unfolding world carries her on. Early tones gather along the window frame, edges shifting as the sky adjusts. A quiet stripe of color stretches wide, marking the threshold of a forming day. A soft rustle drifts across the floor, stirring the room with gentle motion. The faintest echo lines the space before any clear direction appears. She moves with unhurried certainty, letting the early hush steady her steps. Every sound draws a subtle outline, guiding her toward a calmer focus. Outside, rooftops start to reorganize, contours rising in uneven patterns. She senses the world take its first shift, though nothing demands her name it yet. Curtains sway slightly with the tempered breeze, lines of shadow glide across the wall. She feels intention gather quietly, like ink settling into a waiting page. Warm toned surface in delicate increments, hints of movement reaching toward her hands. She lets the moment widen on its own, without defining what should come next. Floorboards answer with a muted rhythm as she adjusts her pace through the room. Possibility grows beneath her thoughts, rounding edges that once felt sharp. The window brightens in a slow ascent, shapes outside becoming more precise. Her steps align with the growing clarity, following patterns she didn't seek. Air shifts softly around her frame, inviting her into the next small choice. She allows emotion to take its place, filling the morning with steady intent. And as the day begins to hold its form, she meets its outline with quiet resolve. Every breath, pace, centered shore, and the widening morning meets her stride. A cool current brushes past her face, marking the beginning of something unnamed. Soft tension leaves her shoulders slowly as the room leans toward its next moment. Faint whispers cluster along the wall, hints of movement gathering in small folds. She watches the air adjust around her, noticing details she missed before. Furniture outlines hold steady positions, yet everything feels slightly renewed. She steps with care across the floor, letting intuition lead the way. No urgency shapes her direction, only a gentle pull toward clarity. Each breath arranges itself cleanly, without demand interpretation. Outside, a muted brightness hovers, its presence felt more than seen. She studies the shift in temperature, tracing the change across her hands. The floor responds with a subtle resonance, a quiet sign that the day has begun. She follows that cue without question, trusting its timing more than her own. Curtains sway in a calculated arc, opening a pathway she hadn't noticed. She aligns her posture with the space, allowing its rhythm to guide her pace. Oh, air thickens briefly, then releases, carrying possibilities across the room. She meets them with unspoken intent, ready for whatever they suggest. Small vibrations travel neath her feet, telling stories the walls cannot hold. She listens carefully to each one, collecting meaning from their sequence. And as the space reforms around her, she feels the world gather into focus. Every motion grounded, steady, true, and the early hour opens into direction. Footsteps settle softly in the quiet hall. Faint echoes lean against the waking room. A thin thread of motion shapes the air, signaling a shift beneath the stillness. Golden lifts his head with gentle interest, ears turning slightly toward the subtle stir. His quiet presence marks the moment before anything fully begins. She moves with unhurried certainty, letting the early hush form its path. Every sound draws a subtle outline, guiding her toward a softer focus. Outside, rooftops hold pale traces of night, edges waiting for colors to return. She feels the room stretch wider as expectation rises in small increments. Golden steps closer with steady calm, paws tapping lightly across the floor. He follows the arc of her movement, reading each motion with familiar ease. A faint breeze pushes through the curtain, shifting the shadows against the frame. She senses intention gather quietly in places she hasn't touched yet. Warm tones shape themselves in the distance, hints of direction whisper through the air. She listens without needing to decide, trusting the room to unfold slowly. Golden circles once, then rest nearby, letting the room settle back into balance. His presence anchors the drifting thoughts, keeping her centered as the morning expands. She takes a measured step into open space, feeling the quiet pulse of the day ahead. Threads of movement align around her, forming a path she's ready to follow. And as the world nudges into motion, she meets its rhythm with grounded ease. Every shift deliberates, steady, true, and the rising day moves forward with her. A muted hush settles across the room, not heavy but present in its own way. She notices how stillness rearranges, forming patterns she didn't expect. Soft pulses rise beneath her fingertips, traveling upward in measured intervals. She follows a slow ascent of sensation, letting it map its own direction. Walls carry faint and no echoes, resonances shifting in gentle arcs. She listens closely without reacting, allowing the moment to unfold. Her breath moves with unclaimed purpose, neither hurried nor restrained. Each inhale draws clean intention that settles without command. A distant tremor touches the floor, subtle, almost imagined, yet distinct. It nudges her posture into alignment, guiding her stance toward balance. Curtains hold a poised stillness, edges suspended in quiet tension. She feels anticipation near them, though nothing calls her outward. The air shifts with faint modulation. as awareness gathers fully, she rises into the waiting space. Every motion deliberate and assured as the unfolding hour shapes her view. A thin gleam edges across the distant room, not sharp but clear in its intention. She notices how it slides into place, marking the start of a fresh cadence. Soft echoes roll beneath her steps, unhurried yet purposeful in tone. They shape a muted rhythm around her, inviting her to move with restraint. Walls absorb the shift in atmosphere, holding whispers of something rising. She follows the subtle invitation, letting her focus narrow gently. Curtains sway with understated grace, their motion steady, almost ceremonial. She aligns her breathing with her art, finding balance in the tempered flow. A faint warmth trace along her wrist, traveling upward before fading out. She lives a beatingless action. Floorboard traces along her wrist, traveling upward before fading out. She lifts her attention to meet it, curious about where it began. Floorboards issue a hollow resonance, timed as though rehearsed before dawn. She listens closely without reacting, accepting the moment as it stands. Across the room, shadows organize, folding into new, deliberate shapes. She watches the transition unfold, learning from its careful patience. Texture shifts along the quiet air, its density rising in measured waves. She steps into the thickened space, allowing herself to adjust slowly. No destination calls her forward, only the subtle push of intuition. She honors the pull without question, letting it sculpt her path ahead. And as the room finds its new center, she follows its posture with quiet resolve. Every gesture mindful, grounded, sure, and the forming cycle aligns with her pace. A quiet ripple glides across the air, barely shifting the space around her. Its presence hums in a distant register, hinting that movement has already begun. Soft gradients form along the corner walls, colors tilting in unstated hazards. And she pauses long enough to observe them, letting the moment unfold without push. A faint tremor grazes the wooden frame, not enough to sway, yet enough to notice. She tilts her attention toward the source, tracing the motion as it lengthens. Weave behind her back, shaping invisible arcs that widen slowly. She adjusts her posture in response, welcoming the change without question. Shadows drift in a moderate sweep, crossing the floor in tender increments. stir with gentle persuasion, opening a narrow path of altered light. She follows the subtle guidance, allowing its rhythm to dictate her pace. Ambient tones pulse near the ceiling, barely audible yet fully present. She lifts her gaze toward the vibration, letting it anchor her direction. Unmarked pathways unforged ahead, defined only by her willingness to move. She steps into the open alignment, trusting the symmetry forming around her. And as the room settles into fluid motion, she moves with intention and quiet strength, every gesture balanced, measured, free, and the widening flow carries her forward. A faint vibration hums beneath the surface, not loud yet insistent in its cadence. She senses its presence before anything moves, like a silent cue carved into the air. Shaded contours just along the ceiling, lines bending with nearly hidden motion. She watches without naming the change, letting perception widen on its own. Furniture angles tilt in subtle increments, barely enough to claim attention. Still she tracks each quiet alteration, seeking patterns in the shift. Her restrained work spreads across the floor, gradual, enforced and steady. It carries an understated momentum, hinting at transition still forming. Thin currents drift behind her shoulders, tracing marks that fade before completion. She turns slightly toward the sensation, following the suggestion rather than the source. A muted resonance gathers near the walls, low-toned and paced like a distant drum. She allows the sound to guide her stance, aligning her posture with the rhythm. Overhead a small flicker passes, its movement brief yet intentional. She notes the gesture as direction, pointing toward possibilities unseen. Her steps land with careful precision, matching the slow choreography of the room. Each placement clearer than the last, as stillness gives way to flow. Undefined pathways open subtly, appearing only when she chooses to look. She walks toward the nearest outline, prepared to accept what it offers. And as the space settles into coherence, she steps forward with refined focus, every motion paced with deliberate calm, and the emerging sequence steadies her path. Subdued pressure gathers near the floor, filling the space with measured weight. She recognizes the shift instantly, though nothing visible has changed. Thin vibrations press along the frame, pulse like steady intentional. She tilts her awareness toward the sound, letting its pattern settle inside her. Soft gradients crease across the ceiling, arms with contained force. She senses momentum building, even in their controlled stillness. Across the room, tones densify, lower frequency settling into place. She turns slightly toward their urgent, letting the sound influence her posture. Subtle roots unfold beneath perception, outlines etched in suggestion alone. She steps toward them with patience, accepting guidance from what's unseen. And as the hour gains its full dimension, she aligns herself with deliberate poise. Every movement refined and assured as the thickened quiet shapes her path. Broad contours rise along the distant wall, spreading outward in deliberate motion. She notices how the edges extend, reframing the room with subtle intent. Soft intervals shift across the floor, crossing paths in measured succession. She studies their intersecting trails, learning from the quiet geometry. A tempered glow builds near the corner, not bright but confidently present. She lets her gaze follow its ascent, tracing the curve it forms in silence. Air thickens in a gentle progression, gathering weight before releasing again. She adjusts her balance carefully, matching her stance to the cadence. And a tone settle behind her back, folding into layered harmony. She turns slightly toward the resonance, allowing it to guide her perception. Walls stretch with understated depth, suggesting space beyond their borders. She leans into the widening reach, trusting what the expansion implies. A faint tremor rounds the atmosphere, barely noticeable yet persistent. She interprets the motion as signal, a nudge toward unmarked direction. Shadows travel in elongated sweeps, moving with certainty across the frame. She observes their confident transit, taking cues from their steady course. Contours outside sharpen gradually, revealing shapes she hadn't sensed